press the broadcast so that people know that we're broadcasting. Oh, here they come.
Oh, there are 8 of them already.
Welcome, everybody. That was my bad. I'm like, where is everybody? But there was a button I had to push, and so I pushed it. So it's nice to see everyone here.
There's 16 of them, there are 18 of them.
No, welcome.
We have a lot of people joining in.
Come on in. 25. All right. This makes me so happy because we have so much epic shit to cover today. A little bit of the groundwork or whatever you want to say. There's 2 places you can engage with Zaneera and myself. There's the chat function, and then there's the Q&A. I will be kind of taking questions and pitching them to Zaneera as we go. She does have a light agenda in the beginning so that we can all kind of get on the same page as to what we're talking about here. And then feel free to, pop in with questions either in the chat or the Q&A. The topic for today's amazing webinar is creating an integrated marketing strategy. And so there are probably people on here that are both mobile bar owners and non-mobile bar owners. My name is Sarah Murphy. I run Mobile Bev Pros, which is a mobile bar owner community. And I host monthly workshops with experts or on, specific niche information specifically for mobile bar owners. But in this case, Zaneera has her own community, and so we've invited them to join us today too. So you don't have to be a bar owner to benefit from this information. It applies to all business modalities or industries. And if you do own a mobile bar, then awesome, because the biggest question that I get from new mobile bar owners, but also those that want to scale and take it to the next step, is kind of like, where should I put my marketing dollars? Like, how do I get in front of the people that will pay me to do this thing that I do? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Not just, the strategy, but like how specifically for you, do you reach the people that are looking for you, right? And so Zaneera has provided a worksheet that I have in front of me. And anybody, I don't know why I hold this up. The light makes it impossible to see. But if you want a copy of this, you can get it either one of 2 ways. You can join the Mobile Bev Pros membership site, and the membership site will have a recording of this. So if you want to access it later, and also a copy of the worksheet, or you can email Zaneera directly, and I'll drop her email in the comment section as she gets started. And on that note, Zaneera, I'm going to introduce you. You are a transformation business and marketing coach. I have personally paid to speak with you about marketing strategy, so I know of your magic. Take it away.
So hi everyone, I am so glad that Sarah and I connected and we decided to do this. I am super thrilled for the session today, and I know, like Sarah said, it's gonna be beneficial for anyone who sells something, no matter if you sell a service, if you sell a product, if you're a coach, if you're a mobile bar owner. So we're gonna make sure that it's of a lot of value for all of you. So I am Zaneera Azlan, a transformation business and marketing coach. I am just going to give you a brief intro, a brief kind of like background of why the hell am I talking to you about marketing? Who made me in charge? So I have created marketing and business strategies for name brands to companies, to nonprofits like Chobani, Fitbit. I did it for UNICEF as well, for Nestle, for Coca-Cola. And then I transitioned into being a consultant. I hop around the world. Right now I'm in Montreal, and but then, the final kind of like the true calling was that now I do it directly for small business owners, for entrepreneurs. And everything that works for big brands, big companies, it's the process. It's mind-bending that the process actually works for anyone who is at any stage in their business. All you need to have that selling kind of like business mindset. So that's that. Sarah, if you want me to start with why everyone should be doing social media, I can do a dive, or if you want to start with something else, let me know.
Do a dive, girl. I have no problems pausing you to dig deeper on things, but you just keep.
Okay. Awesome. So, like, of course, like we're going to get to why social media strategy is important, but like, I know a lot of people who are just starting out, a lot of people who are going through the ideation stage, they kind of build their business up from ground without even thinking about why social media in the first place. Forget strategy. Why should you even be doing social media? So no matter, I want to get that out of the way so that you guys know we have a purpose, we have a goal behind this. This is going to benefit every single one of you. No matter how small or big of a business you are, if you're selling something in this day and age, there's at least a few touch points that you must have available to you online with your potential clients. Now we all know, like I'm not gonna believe this bullshit that, hey, like none of my customers have any digital touch points with me. That's not true in this day and age. So now we all know people are being bombarded with ads and organic content from businesses of all sizes, on different social media platforms, different other digital ways too. And if you're not leveraging your own touch points that you have available to you, and you could be using them with to get closer to your customers, you're basically missing out. You're leaving your potential clients kind of like unfed, which means you're eventually leaving a lot of money on the table. So social media is kind of today's TV, today's roadside billboard, and you want to get more eyeballs. You want to build memorability about your business and your services. So that's the why behind why should we be doing social media. And then the next step of it all is why a social media strategy. And if you've decided to have an online presence, I know a lot, like it's super overwhelming when you're just starting out. You're not sure what to talk about, how to get more eyeballs, how to get more engagement. And even like a lot of people are never sure if they're doing it too much or if they're not doing it enough. So that's kind of a solution to all of those problems, is to basically have a social media strategy that takes into account we're gonna do a deeper dive in all of those things, but the basic roughly speaking, like the few things that we do, so we do design a social media strategy for, is to know what your business goals are, which for me in this day and age are synonymous to marketing goals. If you're leveraging social media, it's for your business / marketing. So know what those goals are, know who your target audience is, know who your ideal client is, where, how to find them, how to kind of like be where they are, how to meet them where they are, and the kind of and eventually, like a social media strategy would also address your questions about, like, hey, like, do I have enough content? What kind of content should I be putting out? When should I put it out? What should be my tone and voice and messaging? So kind of it's in a bottom line, like if you want to speak directly to your ideal client and find them where they are and speak them in their language, a social media strategy is going to do the magic, and you're gonna be able to kind of get around that problem.
There are a few things I want to highlight that you just kind of grasped or kind of talked about that I think are important to point out. So the first one is, and you use different terminology. I'm translating this into my own terminology so people can pick the terminology they like.
Perfect.
But the one, and we actually have talked about this before, and the first is a platform of influence. And so I personally believe that if you don't have you need to be in control of your primary platform of influence. And so we love social media. Social media is necessary, as we've just discussed why, but their algorithms change. Sometimes they go down. Like I think it was 2 years ago, like Facebook and Instagram went down on the same day. Like, can you imagine if you didn't have like your own platform of influence? And so what are some of those? One would be your website. That's probably the biggest, especially for mobile bars, guys. Like people go to your website, They'll look for your website, even if they find you on Instagram, even if they find you on Facebook. Like the first thing I do is I always go and like look for their website on their Facebook profile or their Instagram profile, right? So that I can get more information. You can only put so much on that tiny little profile of yours. So make sure that you have a website, make sure your website connects to your social media, and make sure your social media connects to your website. I can't tell you how many mobile bars use a Facebook page as their website. It's not ideal, guys. It's not. So, you know, I know that there's a little bit of investment there, but that platform of influence is yours. You own it. And so if Facebook and Instagram go down, Twitter goes down, Pinterest goes down, like none of that matters, right? So that was the first thing that I thought kind of stood out, was to really make sure that we, like, while we are all about social media, part of your marketing strategy has to revolve around your platform of influence or your website. And the other thing that you were talking about was kind of like, and I forget exactly how you said it, but basically like your voice, right? And we talk about this sometimes, a voice in the marketplace. And we just did a podcast on Mobile Bev Pros about this, but we termed it using your authentic voice. So that authentic voice is basically going to determine how you engage with the people on your Instagram captions, your Facebook captions, right? And the example I use is that if you follow some mobile bars, oh goodness, which one is my favorite? It's like Margarita something or other. She's always posting memes and tequila and margarita related like funny stuff. It makes me laugh every time. I love it. But my brand, Bar Magnolia, is more kind of professional, buttoned up, you know, lots of experience. Both of us are mobile bars and we're both killing it, but we have different voices in the marketplace and we have different authentic voices. And so how you respond, like if you're going through and you're new and you're like, gosh, I don't know what to say. And you like, I laugh at the margarita truck all the time. I love it, but it doesn't feel right for me to say those things. I certainly could get a, you know, tequila meme up there and just say something sassy. I probably do that more on the Mobile Bev Pros community. But Bar Magnolia in and of itself is not that person. It's not that being. And so finding your authentic voice and then kind of pulling that through your entire marketing strategy, right? So like write out, what are the things that your mobile bar is about? Are they professional? Are they funny? Are they sassy? Like what voice, like who are you? Because people are going to resonate with your voice. The people that you want to work with are going to resonate with your voice. And if they don't like your voice, then they won't work with you. But chances are they weren't really a good fit for you anyways, right? So figure out what your authentic voice is and stick to it, and then pull it through your entire marketing strategy that we're going to be talking about here. Business goals. She said, you know, figure out what you want to achieve. For her, you know, the achieving is very similar to like overall business goals. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, right? So, you know, even if your goal is to make $150,000 this year, you can't do that in a vacuum, right? People need to find you and they need to pay for you. And so in order to hit that goal, you need to meet them where they're at, which is the next thing that you, Zaneera, that you and I talked about, that I think a good rule of thumb is to pick 2 platforms max. If you're just getting started, or if you currently feel like you are all over the place, pick 2 platforms and kill it there. But before you can pick those 2, you have to do what Zaneera was referring to earlier, and that is, who are your clients? You have to identify who your clients are. And once you identify who your clients are, you find out where they're hanging out. Mobile bar owners, my guess, your clients, not on TikTok, but I could be wrong, right? Like, you know, there's a lot of moms on TikTok, but I don't know if those moms are looking for you know, wedding bars, or if they're looking for corporate event bars, right? Even if there are some out there, the vast majority of your clients are not on TikTok. So if you are spending a ton of time and energy spinning up your mobile bar on TikTok, you might be wasting that time and energy, because that, while it's an awesome platform of influence, if you can rock it, your clients aren't there, probably. I'm assuming, but probably, probably not there, right? So that's what we mean by figure out who your clients are, find out where they're hanging out, and then identify that as one of your 2 kind of platforms of influence, the social media strategy. But I think I pulled that stuff out of what you just mentioned. I want to make sure bullet points they can write down, but continue on, Zaneera.
So I want to, kind of piggybacking on what you said, I like noted a few points that I want to add to what you said about the website. So I do, this is why we call it, like, I prefer to call it an integrated marketing strategy than just like an integrated social media strategy. Because one, yes, the website is your only personally fully owned digital asset that you have. Nothing, no matter how many people you have in your face, like, if you have a Facebook following, if you have people following you on Instagram, and all of those, I've been using these platforms for since like 2015, 2014 for business purposes. That everything has been evolved, everything has changed, so they're gonna keep changing. So think of your website as kind of like the core of your entire digital presence, and you want to be pulling people in from all of those different, no matter, like, if you, it doesn't matter if you have one or two or whatever social media platforms that you're engaging with, kind of using and leveraging. Every single stream of that social media audience should be coming eventually to your website. And even for a website, I do want to add that don't make, and this is a conversation that Sarah and I had in our first call as well, that you want to make sure that all of your your services, whatever you provide, your packages, every single thing that you can be doing for your clients is well communicated on your website. There's one golden rule of how you communicate with your people and how you put your offers out there. It's that you don't want your ideal clients to do the work. You want to do the work yourself. You want people to find, you want to be super accessible. You want to have everything laid out nicely so that if someone wants to work with you, they don't have to look for the goddamn link like twice. It's right there, and it's kind of like accessible. So that's that for the website. And coming kind of down to what Sarah talked about, like the voice part of your entire, we'll get to the messaging framework too, which is basically in kind of like simpler terms, it's the content you put out, it's how you talk to your people. But the voice and tone of your brand is rooted in your entire brand archetype. You want to know what your brand personality is. Like Sarah said, she is more professional when it comes to like her brand like she knows what the brand archetype is for her brand, right? And you could have a similar business. There could be two mobile bar owners with exactly different brand personalities, and you want to have that brand personality kind of like drilled down, because that's gonna give. And I do work with people, like, and kind of we find what their brand archetype is, because eventually that archetype defines what your strengths are gonna be, what your if your brand was a person, how what the personality of that person was going to be like, how would they talk, what kind of voice and tone would they have. So you want to have that consistent, because the more conflicting your brand and eventually your tone and voices on social media or on your website, people are not going to want to buy from you. People only buy from a business or a brand that they can sort of like figure out. If there are a lot of conflicting messages, they're unable to figure out who you are as a business, they're not going to be able to put a lot of trust in you. So that's why voice and the messaging part is super important, and that gives birth to the
consistency. Because if you're trying to build trust, which is one of the three things you need to build, right? Know, like, and trust. When you're on social media, every single post, they either need to get to know you, like you, or trust you with it. Right. All of those three things. And so if you are all over the place, maybe you're super buttoned up here, but then you're like sassy and like swearing over here, and then you've got like something totally different over here, then people are like, I don't know, do I like them? I like some things about them, I don't like all the things about them, so maybe they're not really right for me, right? So be consistent in your messaging.
And yeah, exactly. And you know what, that's why we create the first step that we kind of like touched on. And if you do get this worksheet, I'd like definitely recommend that you join like Sarah's membership, or like email me to get your hands on this worksheet, because this has a flow This has everything, all the building blocks that you need to kind of like think through in order to come up with a strategy of your own. You want to know eventually, you know, after goals, you want to know who your target audience is. You want to get in their head. You want to know this person like this person was sitting right next to you, was your best friend. You want to know what their like from, you know, very basic stuff to their demographics, because I know when it comes to businesses like mobile bars, you want to have that demographics, and you know, you want to know who these people are, what their income bracket is, what their location is, what their age is. But then we get into more kind of fun, deeper stuff. We figure out hey, what their psychographics are, which are basically what their lifestyle looks like, what is their behavior, what's their attitude towards, you know, whatever it is that you're selling. You want to think, you want to get in their head, you want to think exactly like them. You want to know what motivates them into buying a product like yours, a service like yours, or whatever the resistances are when they're, you know, when they're
the objection
purchase decision, right? So and eventually when you do create a target audience persona, you identify, like Sarah said, there are plenty of social media platforms out there, but you have to find them where they're, you know, like where they're at most. You don't want to be doing TikTok if you absolutely know that your target is not consuming TikTok, or consuming TikTok for, let's say, like, you know, for anything related to your product or service, right? So you want to know what, you know, what touch points you have with these people, and that's the kind of thing we do under target audience. And then for media mix, I do want to add that, you know, for media mix is basically, you know, the platforms or influence you have with your target audience. I do recommend that, you know, it's advisable that if you're just starting out, yes, do perfect and kind of master the one or two platforms that you can in the start, and then incorporate another one eventually when you know, hey, like I made it on Instagram, I made it on Pinterest. Another kind of approach is to, because, you know, like I work with a lot of people who do multiple things at the same time. If your bandwidth allows you to do that, like absolutely do that. But I know when you're doing everything by yourself and you're trying to like wrap your arms around all of, you know, this digital jazz, it's kind of hard to, you know, be doing all of them. There are a few ways to automate it, but yes, you know, kind of figure out what the top one or two platforms are that you want to be doing for you, that are relevant for your business. I know for a lot of services, especially like business coaches and stuff, Facebook and Facebook groups are very relevant. But when you're in something that is so visual, like a mobile bar that's related to weddings, that's related to corporate events, it's all visual, right? It's all about planning. It's all about the beautiful visuals that you can use. So that's where Instagram and Pinterest becomes super duper relevant, right? So ideally, you know, at an advanced stage, businesses customize and tweak their content for every single platform that you use, because, you know, every single platform has its own personality. You don't want to be doing the exact same thing on every single platform, which is, it's, you know, kind of advisable to do one or two things, do them in an amazing way before you incorporate another one.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest lessons I've had, especially with Mobile Bev Pros. Bar Magnolia, very much on Instagram, very much on Pinterest, because that's where people are pinning things, right? They're planning, they're being inspired, they're looking for recipes there, right? So like that makes sense for the mobile bars. And the one thing that I took that when I started Mobile Bev Pros, I took what I learned about mobile bars and being on social media, and I just started doing the same thing on for Mobile Bev Pros. And you know what I found out? My clients are consuming different things in a different way. So, you know, as we've pivoted, as we, you know, the COVID has created a lot of people having to pivot. And even if it's very much the same, you know, cocktail related. So I serve drinks at events, but now maybe I'm doing it on Zoom. I talked to someone yesterday who's doing Zoom cocktail classes, which is great. What I have found with Mobile Bev Pros is that if I create a video live on Facebook, 5% of people are going to watch it. People are busy. They got kids going on. Maybe they're driving around. Maybe they're doing whatever, like maybe 5%. If I do a recap of what the valuable content was in the actual description of the video, much more engagement, right? It's super easy for me to do. I know what I talked about, but I wasn't doing it for a long time. I'm like, wow, this is super valuable information. Why doesn't anybody want the information? They do, they just didn't want to watch it, right? So then I create podcasts on the same topic that was on the video, same topic that was in the description, but I do a podcast because some people are listening and not watching and they're not reading, right? So when you're thinking about your ideal client and you're thinking about the media in which you would like to provide them, whether it's recipes, if you provide recipes in your Instagram, why not create a video and video yourself? Because some people prefer to watch YouTube videos or Instagram TV videos, right? Like, I'm not that person. I'm not a video watcher. If you send me one, I probably won't watch it, but unless it's a GIF. I like fast ones, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And so I could be your client. If I was your client, all you were doing were giving me videos of your recipes, I wouldn't find value in that. Stick it in an Instagram post, I probably will save that, right? That's just me. But like, you have valuable content to offer your people. Everyone consumes in a little bit different way. So you can actually get on other platforms without creating additional content or much more content, right? You don't need, if you're on 3 different platforms, you don't need 3 unique ideas or approaches. You just need to kind of regurgitate it in a slightly different way.
Exactly. That's called, that's called content customization. All you have to do is just make little tweaks. Like Sarah said, some platforms are more video driven, and then some are more about visuals. Some are more about, if you're a podcast junkie, like I once was, you would want to probably listen to it, right? So all you have to do is really nail down your content and then find different ways. It's like, making something in dinner and then finding different ways to feed it to your kids. One kid might want it in a different way, in a different, platter or something. And I know kids are just like all about, the kind of plate that they're being served in. So it's just like, you've landed some beautiful content. It's not easy to come up with content. Now find ways to repurpose it and just like feed it to different audiences in different formats.
That's right. We have one question so far, and I'm going to take it, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it as well as Zaneera, because I've answered this question quite a few times, and I'm going to answer it again because I'm pretty passionate about this particular topic. Jessica asks, how do you feel about putting prices on your website? And so I think this is oftentimes debated, and I think for good reason, but I also think that it's, for me, you can do both. And the reason is because I don't want you and I don't want me spending a ton of time going back and forth with people who haven't self-qualified themselves. So as you guys know, in the mobile bar industry, prices are all over the place. You may be able to get a bartender for $35 an hour, or, in my case, you're not touching one of my bartenders for less than $300. So like, I want to pre-qualify people so they know right up front whether or not I'm in their budget. So what I recommend doing is, if it's a high ticket or highly customized object or service or product, do not put the price on there. Why? Because it's going to range too much. Like, their situation may be so specific that maybe it's on the low end and that you scared them off by putting, a giant price tag on it. So put a starting at. And that sets the expectation that, like, we don't do this particular thing for less than this, but your situation, may vary. So you may be paying double or triple this, but you may also just be paying this, right? So it's starting at. If it's something that's literally transactional, so like the way I do my pricing is my bartenders for 4 hours of service are $300. Why would I not put that on my website? If somebody wants signature cocktails, it's $3 a guest. Why would I not put that on my website? Because if they don't like it on my website, they're not going to like it on the proposal, and I'm going to have to spin up that proposal, right? So if it's something super transactional, if it's a product that's like, this is the price, put it on your website, because you're not going to, you might scare them away, but the chances are you sending it to them in a proposal isn't any better. Now, some people argue, if I can get them on the phone, I can get them to see the value. You're not wrong, which is why I say, like, if it's a tailored item or a higher priced item, get the sales call. because you might have to explain to them the value. That's why you need starting at prices. You know, like there's a coach that I'm dying to work with, business coach. She just like, I just absorb everything about her. And like, I listen to her podcast religiously, and she has on her website that to like start working with her is like 5 figures. I'm waiting for that time when I can work with her, right? But like, I know not to waste her time because she's not going to take my call right now, right? Because I'm not willing to put up 5 figures. But I know like that's where I need to be. If I'm a bride and I'm planning my event, and I know that if I want that camper bar at my event, prices start at $1,500, I got to find room in my budget before I make that call, because I don't want to waste their time, right? So that's kind of what the sales call is for. It's kind of like, I need you to see the value in what I'm offering. But if it's super transactional and it's almost like add to cart, like put the price up there, because nobody likes to, let's say they go and there's no prices. You know what we've all heard, every single one of us? Well, if there's no prices, you can't afford it. And that might not be true. You know what I mean? They may be able to afford you. So don't scare them off with no prices. And the other thing, while I'm talking about websites, because this has come up in a couple of my calls this week with other members, the question they'll say, I want to work with corporate. And I've heard this ever since we did the corporate workshop 2 months ago. I would love to get corporate, you know, especially with COVID, people want to diversify. They don't want to just do weddings. They want to do corporate too. So how do I get into corporate? And I'm like, that's a great question. I'll pull up their website and I'll pull up their Instagram, and I'll be like, you don't even say you do corporate on your website or in your Instagram, like nowhere. And so if I'm a corporate planner, then, and I'm going like, oh, look, this cool, like mobile bar, I'm planning an event, employee appreciation thing. And I go to your website and I don't even see the option of corporate. I don't see any examples of corporate. I don't see any corporate partners that you've worked with. I see a bunch of wedding pictures. I see your beautiful camper. I don't see a list of your services. As Zaneera said earlier, like put your services on your website. I go to a lot of mobile bar websites, just so you guys know. I'm stalking you on purpose. And a lot of people don't even have the services that they offer. And so like, there's a good start. Like if you want to do something, if you want to do corporate events, if you want to do baby showers, if you want to do bachelor parties, tailgating, if you want to do those things, you have to put them as your services so that people who find you know that that's an option for them.
Yeah, you want to be informing and educating your audience. Like anyone that you think is gonna, like Sarah, like is gonna land on your website and might want to find out about whether you do a baby shower or you do a bridal shower or you do a corporate event. You want to make sure, even if you don't put the price out there, and I'm gonna answer this for people who are more in services kind of industry too, like myself too. The purpose, the entire goal of like making yourself look accessible on your website is to inform and educate people about your services and about like the stuff that you can do for them. And yes, I am 100% with Sarah on this. I do not put my high ticket offers on my landing page or anything. My links, none of them say anything about my super high ticket offers. But I did, like I sold my one-on-one business coaching program for 17 grand for 3 months to one client because she needed like customized support. It was more than what I do, and I was willing to customize my offer. I was willing to customize my entire support system too. So that's different. But then I do have information for people who want to get on a strategy call, who want to do a discovery call, who just need like 2 hours of my life to build up a strategy, or an hour call. Like I have all of those listed, but I don't like openly because my rates keep changing. My business coach keeps pushing me to kind of like up my rates when you see more people who want to work with you. And this is for anyone who is in the services industry, and that kind of includes mobile bar owners too, because you're providing a product plus like a huge service, a huge experience for your customers, right? Like you want to have that room for yourself and for your clients to make whatever service or package they want to buy, to be able to customize it. And a lot of people are going to want to, like, it all comes down to the experience that you're going to provide. So eventually, yeah, like do talk about the stuff that people can afford, because that's your way of making sure that they know that you're accessible. Like you're at least accessible, right? And then, you know, get them on a call. Sometimes it does take a lot of, it takes me usually, you know, if someone has resistances in working with me, I usually get them back on a call, you know, because I want to be answering all of their concerns, all of their, whatever, you know, whatever's coming up for them, I want to be answering them on a call because it's, you know, that's easier. You know, it's good to answer you know, questions of your potential clients who want to work with you.
Yeah, I love that segue actually, because it came up earlier when you were talking about sales calls. The one thing that we don't talk about much in the mobile bar industry are sales objections. Now, the coaching world talks about it all the time. And so I hear about it a lot now that I'm kind of in that realm. And I'm like, gosh, I've never talked about this with my members, because a lot of us do get on the call. I mean, people can text me, call me directly from my website. They can schedule a call, and I'll get people on. It really is an opportunity for me just to answer questions, right? But it's also a sales call, and you're gonna sense the energy there and concerns, and they're gonna ask questions. And if you aren't preparing yourself with your kind of spiel to overcome sales objections, then you're leaving money on the table. And so what are some of those sales objections that people have when they're planning a wedding, right? Oh, you're too expensive than your competitor. Oh, okay, well, great. Like I've done, you know, 200 more events than my competitor. I've been in business longer, but they don't know this unless you tell them that, right? And you don't say it like that, right? You certainly don't go, oh, my competitor's not as good as me. But you have to practice. Like, what are some of the responses that you're going to have when people are like a little uneasy with the call? Here's a good one. I get people on the phone, and one of the items on my package is a concierge service. It used to be all lumped in as a package, but then there were truly some instances where, like, we have lots of venues around here that, like, they'll provide the glassware, they'll provide the ice, the coolers, like they've got all that. So they don't need me to bring it. So I just kind of created its own little thing. It's concierge package. And so we'll have some people that'll be like, hey, like, I don't need ice from you because the venue has an ice machine, but it's $3 a guest, and I really don't want to cater. I don't want to like pull apart something that's a $3 per guest item, right? Like it's packaged for a reason. And most of it is because I have been on site to places that had ice. The caterers already used half of it. And then, you know, like, we're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm left to try and figure out, like, how do I get through this ice, right? So I tell them that. I said, yeah, like, I totally understand, you know, but we keep this bundled together because we have, you know, everywhere we go is a new place. We never know what to expect. And there have been times when we've showed up and there hasn't, maybe the ice machine's been broken, maybe there hasn't been enough ice. And for us, we're just there to guard your experience. Like, we are just there to do whatever we need to bring to make sure that, you know, it's perfect. And we have so much experience that we know what that is. We know how much ice we need. We know that we can bring it. It's not really that much more per guest, right? That's overcoming the sales objection, because they don't have all the insight and the knowledge around it that you do. They may just be like, ice on site, check, right? But you've been doing this for years. You know, like, maybe their ice is crap. Maybe they don't ever clean their ice machine, right? Like, ice machines really gross me out, by the way. They are just like oftentimes not maintained properly. But anyways, that's one sales objection. So if you do get people on the sales call, then make sure you have your common sales objections and how you respond to them. But you don't stop there. If there's a sales objection that comes up repeatedly when you're having your calls, that means that you have not done your pre-work. If your website is not already addressing their concerns, you're leaving money on the table, because when they come to your website, they really want you to be solving their problems for them, right? And so they're not even gonna reach out unless you're solving a problem for them. On Instagram, maybe one of your posts one day could be like, talking about the ice machines, or, you know, the fact that you went to this one venue one time and the ice machine was broken and you were out in the middle of nowhere. And so now, to ensure that your clients always have the best day, you handle the ice no matter what. You know, no matter what, the ice will be handled, and you will never have this day that this bride and groom had because of the experience that you had, and now you know better, right? So, like, instilling confidence that, one, you learn from mistakes, and two, you've done so many events that even things that are completely unpredictable, you are already making accommodations for.
So a lot of time, like, it's actually your clients telling you about the content that you should be, about the topic that you should be talking about, and addressing in, I don't care, like through your website or through your social media, but if it's coming up a lot for them and in your sales calls. And by the way, for discovery and sales calls, yes, there's so much that goes into, I thought, I had done this in the business world for a million times. I still went through trainings. I got a lot of coaching, invested in a lot of coaches just to like get myself kind of customized to how to do a sales call or how to do a discovery call when I am hopping on with an entrepreneur and not like a team of 100 people, right? And then a lot of it takes some time to, kind of like understand how to, and you want to lead with love. You don't want to be defensive. You don't want to, like, people are investing, if they're thinking about or considering investing in you, they have every right to question everything that you're selling to them. Just make it easy for them, learn from what the objections are, and then maybe like, pre-address them somehow, make the content, visible to them. But then yes, definitely get people back, on sales calls, and you want to be closing your clients, on those calls. It takes like that real human interaction to actually, because I think I have been able to close my highest paying clients, highest ticket, really high ticket offers on calls, and it took some, not like convincing, but it took some of my energy to answer what their reservations were. And kind of like, you want to show them, doesn't matter if you're a business coach, doesn't matter if you own a mobile bar, doesn't matter if you have a store of your own, you want to kind of show your value to your potential client. That's what the entire game is about. Like, are you showing your, everything that you bring to the table? Are you showing that value to your client when you are in front of them or when you're on call with them?
Absolutely. We have a question from Robin. Any thoughts on how to create partnerships with local companies such as breweries, barware businesses? I guess I would need more. My clarifying question there, Robin, would be what kind of partnership are you talking about? Like, are you for barware? Are you selling their barware? Or for breweries, are you trying to just be on site serving their products? What kind of partnerships are you trying to create? And I'll give her a few minutes to answer that question. Again, for those that joined later, if you do have a question, you can drop it either in the chat section or in the Q&A section, and then Zaneera and I will answer it as it kind of comes up in conversation. Awesome. I feel like we've covered a lot of really good ground here. We still have about 15 minutes if anyone has any questions or there's anything left unanswered. And Zaneera, you actually still have stuff to cover here if you want to just keep going.
Yeah, I guess we can keep going, and then if anything, anyone has a question, please let us know in the comments. So we did touch upon most of the stuff that was in the workbook and kind of what it takes to build an integrated marketing strategy for your business. And the last point, after deciding what your platforms of influence are, what your media, which I like calling media mix, like everything that you're going to be doing with the digital media that you have in your access. The next step is that you put marketing tactics together. That's literally you listing down what is it that you're going to be doing with every single touch point, with every single platform of influence that you have with your potential client. For instance, if you're doing Instagram, you want to make sure, and it goes deeper than figuring out the number of posts you're going to be doing. That's where you figure out, hey, I'm going to be doing one informative post, one kind of my evergreen content from maybe like from a previous wedding, from previous event that you covered, and then a third post about something else. For instance, like I was working on marketing tactics and kind of like content strategy with someone yesterday for their business, for their Facebook group, which I know is not very relevant to a lot of people who are in the mobile bar industry. But, and kind of like adding another point here, because I know Sarah and I talked about this, that even if Facebook is on your second or third or fourth kind of priority list when it comes to how you're doing your social media, and Facebook groups are not something that you are doing for your business, I would still suggest that, you know, be a part of groups that are relevant to your industry. If, let's say, you are big on providing mobile bar services to weddings, are you in, you know, are you listening to the conversation that's happening in that industry around your product through various, I know there are a lot of, when I was getting married, I was a part of so many Facebook groups, so many, yes, I would stalk the hell out of people on Instagram, I'd pin ideas on Pinterest, but then I was doing most of my research kind of listening to what other brides were talking about, what other services were being offered in the industry. And Facebook groups are an amazing place. Even if you're not building one for your own, are you a part of, you know, some big Facebook groups that are significant in your industry? Because I think that's where you can do a lot of social listening. You can listen to what the conversation is happening. You can listen to what is it that people are, you know, what's in demand, what people are asking for, and kind of, you know, keep pivoting your products, your services, your efforts around those. So coming back to marketing tactics, like have those marketing tactics, like every single thing that you want to do with each platform in order to leverage it the best way possible. That's kind of a part of the entire marketing strategy too, that you want to have those tactics listed out, and they should be time based. They should tell you exactly what a certain content piece of content, what a certain post is going to be about, and not just you know, just don't just throw a number out there that, hey, I'm going to be posting 4 or 5 times on Instagram. It's good to know your frequency, but that's just like the first thing of what you want to know about, you know, what you're going to be doing. It's literally, if you have a plan, and kind of, you know, coming back to with what we started with, you know, like the having those marketing, financial, and business goals in the start, all of your tactics, you know, they should be reflective of what your goals were. Because if everything is not coming back to that overarching, kind of serving those overarching goals, then there was no point of putting a strategy together in the first place. So you want to, when I was just starting out, and Sarah, let me know if we have any more questions, because we do.
I said, okay.
So when I was just starting out, I put that was in you know, the coaching business a couple years ago. My first goal was to bring 5K a month. That was my first kind of, that was the first roadmap item that I had on the list. That was the first goal. And I aligned all of my social media, all of, you know, the tactics that I were doing, how frequently I was showing up, how many people I was like reaching out to. I aligned it to reach that goal. And it was only after I kind of met that goal that I was like, hey, I need to up my game when it comes to all of my nitty-gritty tactics, my action items, right? So you want to have that alignment, you know, between your goals and your action list, your tactics, your everything that you do with your website and your social media.
I love that. Members of MVP, there is a 30+ page document in there that I created for social media content creation. And it starts with like the 17 most engaging post types. So like you can post about a lot of things, but for mobile bars, through a ton of research, I pulled out 17 of the most engaging types. So, and what do I mean by that? So I'll give you an example. When I post on Mobile Bev Pros, I post, I have a schedule, and on each Monday, I'll post about like motivation. And on Tuesday, I will do the mobile bars in the wild, which, by the way, if you don't tag yourself with mobile bars in the wild, you should, because I love looking at that hashtag, and you should look at it too. It's gorgeous bars in like the most wild, wonderful places. Wednesdays, cocktail inspo, right? And why do I do that? because social media is hard, and it enables me to build a rhythm, and it enables me to figure out, okay, today's Wednesday, I guess it's cocktail, posting about a cocktail today, right? And so it also provides some structure so that like you're providing value to your clients, because, you know, like know, like, and trust, right? Like they say you should get your face, a picture of your face every 9 squares on Instagram or something. Why? Because people need to know you, that you are who they're doing business with, right? In the coaching world, it's probably like 8 out of 9. If you go to any coaching website or any coaching Instagrams, it's like face, face, face. But our face is our bars, right? Usually. So, or our cocktails. And so we have to remind ourselves like, oh, I got to get me in there because I'm the person behind it, and they want to get to know me, because people do business with other people. They don't do business with campers, right? And so by building a structure or a tactic where you have like a routine as to what you're posting about, it's easier for you, and also kind of make sure that you're giving your clients or your potential clients the information they need to trust you.
And another, you know, like another thing that we teach, especially in as a coach to all of my product-based and service-based businesses, that it's not just, it's of course like the first thing is that making your own life easy. If you have that, you know, kind of calendar set out, you know what you're doing. You're not going to have to wake up every single morning, think about the content you're going to be doing for today. Even if it's one post, it takes so much energy and time to come up, and you're not going to be feeling it on certain days. So you want to create that ease for yourself, but you know what, another thing that you're doing for your audience, you're brain training them. When someone follows you for a longer time, especially I have those people, like especially, you know, in my Facebook group, and I've seen it in other Facebook groups as well. I've seen it on Instagram too, that you eventually your followers know what to expect, and they get, you know, they're more inclined to be following you and kind of like consuming your content when they're brain trained. They know what to expect. They know you're literally training them by having a routine, which is amazing. You kind of like find that alignment.
We all have those people we follow on Instagram and they're like, ooh, I love posts from them. You're like, scroll. Oh yes. Like, let me read that, because I know that the content they are providing is going to be valuable,
right,
engaging. It's going to connect with me. And the things that connect with me are not going to be the same things that connect with you. But that's what using your authentic voice is all about, because then the people who resonate with you, they'll stop when they see you come, you know, through the Instagram. Robin clarified her question, or his question. Not sure who. More social media partnerships right now, since we are not able to actually promote ourselves at in-person events, especially to build your research in your local markets. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, because right now the best way to do that is to like go to a brewery and like shake their hand and be like, I love your beer and I'd love to put it on my menus, and like, you know, tell me about it, talk to me about it, and then to actually do a post about it, and then they will reshare that post, and so then you get access to kind of all of their followers and stuff, and then you could be like, hey, if you wouldn't mind posting about, you know, us for New Mobile Bar. Face-to-face is always going to be the best, but also like there's nothing preventing you from really kind of going on now and like getting your local brewery beer and like doing like a little COVID-19 lineup, right? There's a podcast, not podcast. He does have a podcast, Jack's 47. He's out in Asheville, North Carolina. He did an entire series on local beers. It was Instagram TV. And I mean, he has this old truck, and he's got some great taps and stuff. And so one of the first things he did was he just went and like sampled a bunch of beers, and he did reviews on the beers. And he posted it on his Instagram TV. He tagged all the right people. And so guess what? His local brides and grooms were like, ooh, these are options for our wedding. The breweries are like, ooh, there's this mobile bar who's out there really like hawking our goods and you know, putting us in a great light, right? And so he builds frienders, I like to call them, there, and he has content, so it's like a triple whammy, right? That's the win-win. So that's, if I was to say like how right now to build those partnerships, that's probably the direction I would go. Good question. Any other questions? We have about 5 more minutes. Even if you don't have a question, if this was valuable to you, drop like an emoji or like a thumbs up or something in the comments, just so we know that the information we're given here is valuable. Nani asks, if you put money into marketing your business, what do you think is the most successful, most used platform? Facebook ads, Instagram, others? Okay, I'm gonna let Zaneera answer this, but of course.
And I would want to know the kind of business you have, if it's a mobile bar, or just you deal with something else. But the way I help create people, I help people create marketing strategies, 360-degree marketing strategies around, which includes everything that we talked about and so much more, is that we make sure that we are leveraging every single organic tactic that we have, because you want to be doing all of those. You can, and it's not even just about money. You can't, like I've had those conversations where people like, I do have the marketing dollars and I want to put them right away, but you can't even like expect to put a lot of marketing money and then start expecting results if you don't have that organic engagement, if you don't have something that you've been feeding people with, right? So I would, and it definitely, the way Facebook and Instagram marketing works is that you can use the same dollars to put ads out on both platforms. So if someone, like wants to talk about how to do that and how kind of like, where if you've done everything organically, if you think that you want to have like a mix of both organic and paid reach, that has to be, because I can't, like, I'm not going to tell you to go and like put a certain amount of money in a certain platform. I was gonna do this like towards the end of the call, but if there's anyone here who do need help with building a social media or integrating marketing strategy together for whatever business they have. I worked with restaurants. I worked with I worked with National Cherry Blossom Festival. Whoever's like in DC or have ever been to the festival too. I've worked with bars too. So if there's anyone here who think they want a deeper dive into building an entire marketing strategy for the next 3 months or 6 months, I sent it to Sarah. I do have my 50% discounted strategy sessions open just for the people who joined. And if you if you email me or if you use the link, I guess like you've shared my email. If you email me, I'll give you the link to book that 50% discounted call. It's just for $55. And we can, kind of like figure out whatever it is that you need help with your strategy. I'd love to do that. And I'd be able to like answer some of your more customized, cater to your business kind of questions too.
Yeah, and it's worth every dollar. I don't even remember. It was just star-crossed lovers, Zaneera. I don't even remember how we got connected. But I had this idea, and for the mobile bar owners, you guys know I already launched it. It's the DIY wedding course for brides that don't want to pay for our other services. And I reached out to Zaneera because I had seen all of these like $37 Facebook ads for different things, right? And I'm like, oh, how do I get this product that I've also priced at like $37 to brides? And so I reached out to Zaneera. I'm like, hey, can you put together like a Facebook like ad campaign or something? I'm like, I can throw some money behind it, but it's a cheap product and it's COVID. And I, just gave all my members 2 months off. So I not really a whole lot of cash here. And she's like, no, don't, that would be the wrong call. We aren't going to spend your money on Facebook ads because this is a new product. You haven't identified your audience. Like you haven't even used the organic options that you have available to you, like your, newsletter, your Instagram, whatever. And it just was like, what? Yes, this is the kind of information that I needed. Someone to hold me back from just throwing money at the Facebook machine, being like, sell this thing for me, please, because it doesn't work. And how many people have you heard that are like, oh, I've wasted so much money on Facebook ads? And it's probably not Facebook or the algorithm. It's that they didn't do the work on the front end of identifying who actually buys this stuff, where are they, what are they willing to pay for it, right? We know these things, but sometimes you get carried away. And so Zaneera is, she's a pro at what she does. So the $55 will not be wasted. Like I said, I've paid her myself, and it was worth every penny. And Zaneera, it looks like
I'm giving
She
200.
dropped all the details to the link to book a strategy session, and then
Yeah,
that's
I dropped the strategy session link. Plus, there's my email address too, if you, in case you want to reach out before booking. I see a question from Valerie. I've been given $200 in Epi credits for ads. What's the best way to use? If you do have some ads kind of designed already, I don't know if you're doing carousel ads, if you have some visuals, but I'd say that figure out what your goal is. Are you trying to engage people, or are you just trying to create kind of like more awareness? Because ads for each of those goals like work differently. They have different call to actions, and this credit can be used towards your both for your Facebook and Instagram. All you have to do is like create one ad piece and run it on both platforms. But I really say, because the way Facebook ads kind of work is that you have to like know what the goal of the campaign is. So yeah, like if you want to reach out to me separately, let me know, and we can, talk about how to use them best.
awesome. Zaneera, you've been amazing. I always love chatting with you. Hopefully, by the number of emojis, I think this was helpful to people.
I love you. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for putting me in front of, this amazing audience. I had a lot of fun. I love talking. So, this.
This is the perfect gig for you then. Amazing. Thank you for everyone that joined us. Again, real quick for Mobile Bev Pros membership site members, this will be available within 24 to 48 hours if you want to watch the replay, if you want to grab the worksheet. If you aren't a member, consider joining. Prices do go up June 1st. And if you have any other questions for me, let me know. You know how to reach me. If you have any questions for Zaneera, which I'm guessing many of you do, hit her up too. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, Sarah. Bye. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.